July 19th, 1989. A clear summer afternoon. United Airlines Flight 232 took off from Denver. But what happened next would become one of the greatest survival stories in aviation history. A story of tragedy, heroism, and the impossible fight against fate. This is the story of Flight 232. The aircraft was a McDonnell Douglas DC-10, a giant of the skies, with 3 engines, 2 under the wings and 1 mounted at the tail. On this day, Flight 232 carried families, business travelers, and children returning from summer camps. In command was Captain Alfred Haynes, a highly experienced pilot. Beside him, First Officer William Records and Flight Engineer Dudley Dvorak. Also in the cockpit was a training captain, Dennis Fitch, traveling as a passenger. Everything seemed normal. The weather was clear. The flight path was smooth. No one knew that in less than an hour, their lives would hang by a thread. 43 minutes after takeoff, cruising at 37,000 feet, disaster struck. The tail engine exploded. Its massive fan disc shattered into countless pieces. Deadly fragments ripped through the fuselage, severing all 3 hydraulic systems. Hydraulics, these are the lifeblood of an aircraft. They control the rudder, the elevators, the ailerons, every surface needed to steer the plane. Without hydraulics, an airplane is uncontrollable. But Flight 232 was now flying with no controls at all. Inside the cockpit, alarms screamed. The crew realized something unthinkable. They had lost all hydraulics. This was supposed to be impossible. The DC-10 had 3 separate hydraulic systems, designed so that if one failed, the others would keep working. But the engine explosion had cut through all 3 at once. The odds of this happening? 1 in a billion. Captain Haynes radioed air traffic control. United 232, we've lost all hydraulics. The controller, confused, asked, "You mean you've lost some hydraulics?" Haynes repeated, calmly but firmly, "No, all hydraulics." It was a death sentence for any plane. But the crew refused to give up. With no flight controls, the plane began to roll and dive. Passengers screamed as the cabin shook violently. Then, First Officer Records noticed something. When they increased power to the right engine, the plane turned left. When they throttled back the right, it turned right. They had discovered a new way to fly. By using the 2 wing engines like crude steering wheels. It wasn't precise, it wasn't stable, but it kept the DC-10 in the sky. In the cabin, flight attendants struggled to calm terrified passengers. Children clutched their parents. Some wrote goodbye letters. Others prayed. One passenger letter recalled, "You could feel it in your stomach, every drop, every turn. We knew something was terribly wrong." Despite the chaos, the crew's calm voices over the intercom gave a sliver of hope. They weren't giving up. Neither should the passengers. As fate would have it, one of the passengers was Captain Dennis Fitch, a DC-10 training captain who specialized in flight control systems. When he learned what had happened, he immediately volunteered to help. He joined the cockpit and took over managing the throttles, working desperately to balance the engines and keep the aircraft steady. Now 4 pilots fought together, coordinating every move, every engine adjustment, just to keep the plane from rolling out of control. It was teamwork unlike anything aviation had ever seen. Air traffic control cleared a path to Sioux City, Iowa. The airport prepared for an emergency landing. Fire trucks, ambulances, rescue teams, all lined up, waiting for the impossible attempt. Captain Haynes addressed the passengers. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very difficult landing. Brace positions. Stay strong." In the cabin, people held hands. Some whispered prayers. Others whispered goodbyes. As the plane approached Sioux City at over 250 miles per hour, far faster than a safe landing speed. Without hydraulics, there were no flaps, no spoilers, no way to slow down. The DC-10 came in high, wobbling side to side, like a wounded bird. On the ground, rescue teams braced for impact. One firefighter later recalled, "We knew we were about to witness something we'd never forget." 3:59 p.m. United Airlines Flight 232 touched the runway. The right wing dipped. The engine slammed into the ground. The plane cartwheeled across the runway, breaking into pieces. Fireballs erupted. Smoke and debris filled the sky. It was chaos. Screams, flames, twisted metal everywhere. And yet, out of this inferno came survivors. Miraculously, 185 people lived. Passengers were pulled from burning wreckage. Parents carried children through smoke. Rescuers risked their lives running into flames to save strangers. One survivor later said, "It was like being given a second life." 111 souls were lost that day. But against all odds, more than half the passengers survived, thanks to the courage of the crew, the bravery of rescuers, and the resilience of ordinary people. The investigation confirmed the impossible chain of events. A complete hydraulic failure caused by a rare engine explosion. The crew of Flight 232 was hailed as heroes. Captain Haynes, Dennis Fitch, and the entire team had turned certain death into one of the greatest survival stories in aviation history. Their courage changed aviation forever. New safety training, new emergency procedures, and new designs were born from this tragedy. And to this day, Flight 232 is remembered as the crash no one was supposed to survive. In the face of the impossible, humanity found hope. In the darkest moment, bravery shone brightest. United Airlines Flight 232 reminds us that even when the odds are 1 in a billion, courage, teamwork, and determination can defy fate itself.